another guest, and finally another a few moments later. I knew he was the last to arrive when you slid the chain across the door after you waved him in. No one paid me any mind. It was like I was not there, invisible to them all. But then one of them waved a hand towards the space and said, "This place looks cool. I like it." They all turned and looked, agreeing with him, their eyes flitting over the room, over me, as if I was just another part of the furniture. Seen, but no more noteworthy, for now at least, than the floggers hanging on the wall or the cage pushed into the corner. The realization made me whimper. It would have been better if they had swarmed straight to me, making me the centre of their attention immediately. One of them smiled briefly at me in response to the noise I had made. It was not a tender, benevolent smile, but a knowing, almost cruel one. And then he turned his attention back to his drink and the group. I could feel my heart beating in my chest, and much to my shame, I could also feel the wetness from my cunt starting to leak down towards my arse. Apprehension, anticipation, even a little flutter of fear caused adrenaline to spike in my system. I tried to steady my breath, to not let it overwhelm me. They carried on talking, drinking. There were snacks and they lounged around, sharing stories, laughing. Why were they waiting? Why bring me here and then ignore me? As the clock ticked on, my fear turned to annoyance and impatience. I was about to call his name, to demand his attention, but then I noticed the two men sitting on the sofa nearest me had their heads bent close, and as one was...
There you are. Hello, darlings, and a very, very warm welcome to, where are we? Oh, it's Tuesday, isn't it? A very warm welcome to Tuesday Night Live with me, Boaty. And yes, I'm coming to you direct from Windy Bottom here in the Peak District National Park, where it is absolutely fucking freezing. God, it's cold. Oh, dear me. So I hope you're all safe and warm and, perhaps you have some warming beverage on hand to just cheer up what is otherwise a cold, chilly, miserable night. But nil desperandum, my lovelies. Now, tonight it's going to be cold. Right, I'm talking to you like who are in the UK, right? Now, I know that some of you live in, many long way far distance over in foreign lands. And, you can look after your own weather. But I can't comment on that because I'm not experiencing it. What I am experiencing is the weather here in the UK. It's cold tonight. It was cold last night. It's going to be even colder tomorrow. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, well, tie me in a Windsor knot. However, after the peak coldness of tomorrow night, guess what? It's going to get warmer. It's going to get warmer, my lovelies. And by the time weekend comes, it's going to be lovely and warm. It's going to be like 10, 11, 12 degrees. And that's going to be right nice. I shall look forward to that. I shall have a good grundle with my fucks. And you don't want to do that when it's too cold because your fucks might snap off. And you can't grundle them once they've snapped off, can you? No, you bloody can't. Oh. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to milk by hand. None of that electric nonsense. I like the feel of the bastards. Yeah. And in case you were worried, don't panic. I remembered to purchase bathroom stationery. I was down to my last 3 sheets. That was sheets, by the way, sheets. And that is a very precarious situation to be in, as some of you might well have experienced. But don't worry, I had 3 things to buy tonight. Wine, bog roll, and washing up liquid. And I'm delighted to report that I remembered all 3 of them. So that's good, isn't it? Now then, let's crack on with things, shall we? I see there are 21 of you watching, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of you, 21, for sharing your time with me. I really am exceedingly grateful, and it's most kind of you. And don't think that you're not appreciated, because I appreciate the absolute arse out of each and every one of you. Let there be absolutely no doubt about that. Ooh. Now then, who've I got? Oh, can I have a slurp of wine, darlings? I've been looking forward to this. Oh, oh, that's very welcome. Could be a little bit more chilled, but that is very welcome. Trace is here, the Greenwood, one of our community channels. We should talk about our community channels. I was thinking about this on the way home. When I started doing these things, or when we started doing these things, and we used to bang on a lot about the community channels, we should have a "Where Are They Now" feature. With all of the community channels that were knocking about when we started, and see how they're all doing, and see which are still with us and which have fallen by the wayside. Evening all, says Trace. It appears I am first. Hope everyone's as well as can be. That's very kind of you, Trace. Pingu Concord. Hi, Tracy. Hope you're keeping it nice and warm tonight. Why do you want it kept nice and warm, Pingu? What have you got planned for it? Oh, yeah, dear me. Well, I think we can use our imaginations on that one. I am indeed keeping it warm, says Trace. I've treated myself to half an hour of central heating. Hope you're well, Pingu. And Pingu confirms that he is indeed all good. Jimmy Quinn is right in our midst. Good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening to you, Jimbo. And Pingu asks Jimmy what he's drinking tonight. Barry is here, that guy from SETI Alpha 5. Good evening, all of you lovely peeps. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Hey, chat and hey, Boaty, says John Stoodley. And I won't ask you how you're doing, John, because I know that everybody else will have, and I'll just read that out. And indeed, Barry says, hey, John, are you okay? And he's doing great. He's getting there. That's grand. Excellent. Barry Scrotter is with us as well. Hello, all. So with this new look, no filth live stream, I hope it doesn't get too vanilla. What new look, no filth live stream? It's the first I've heard of it. I don't think I could do one of those. I agree, Barry, says Trace. Did I miss something last night then? You missed loads last night. We banged on for 2.5 hours between us. Boaty, don't forget to change the chat to live. Already done it. Mr. Professional. I did it before it even started. I'm getting the hang of this. Look at me, all professional, with my toilet roll and all that shit. If I were a blackbird, I'd be on the game. Boaty's World, sponsored by Plain Ice Cream and hand wipes and rubber gloves. That's John. Hello, Cheeseburger's here. Good evening, Cheeseburger. No. Why do I always only ever seem to watch when Boaty does an audio porn intro, asked Trace. Oh, well, I don't know, love. Just your good fortune. Or do I go onto the live early, notice that you're there and think, I'll do some porn? I didn't know you were there. I struggle to get here on time, let alone get here early. Andrew is here, Ivor Spotty Botty. Hello, everyone. I slept in this morning, so I didn't bother going to work. Another pre-bedtime story, Boaty intro. Yes, indeed. I had a bit of a sleep in this morning as well. God, I was tired. And I've had a kind of, I've had a kind of do nothing day, except that I have shoved some videos up, so I've not exactly done nothing. But I'll tell you this: I didn't leave the cottage. Oh no, 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 and no again. Oh no, no, and thrice no. Oh, titters out. Bum bum bum. Didn't you know Boaty wrote for Porn Mags Barry? I hear you're into erotic stories now, Father. What the funk is this? Asked Barry. Just for you, Tracy, says Finger. It's his way of flirting. Mark, Bad Books, is with us and says Boaty's been tossing his salad again. Oh, I don't need a rubber glove to clean up. Has Boaty moved to Somerset? Asks Simone. Hello, Simone. I'm delighted that you're with us, my lovely. Apparently, it's going to be -5 here tomorrow and Thursday night, says Trace. Yeah, a little bit colder than that here. But all we've got to do is survive through that. It's going to get warmer. It's going to get warmer, my lovelies. And that's good that it's going to be warmer for the weekend, because we have got a Mustard and Boaty Do Lunch With being filmed this weekend. Not on a Monday. No, not on a Monday. Our guest can't make it on a Monday. So I'm being dragged to the bloody caravan on a Sunday. I mean, that's all right, isn't it? I mean, don't worry about me working every hour that God sends. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'll schlep up to the caravan, 4-hour round trip, 100 miles back from the caravan to the restaurant, straight to work for me. But no, that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't want anybody to worry about it. We've actually got 2 Sundays booked in. Next Sunday and a Sunday, I think it's the second Sunday in February, is also booked in for a Do Lunch With. They're starting to happen, aren't they? And of course, there is a Mustard and Boaty Do Lunch With in the can, as they say. Now, I've not started editing it yet, but I have had a quick look at it just to check that everything worked, and we got sound, and we got vision, and we got Magnus Pike. And I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. You may think differently, but I think it's going to be quite interesting. And I'm aiming to have it up for you. Oh yes, Mrs. I'm aiming to have it up for you, my lovely. Don't you worry about that. Anybody got any of those little blue pills? I'm aiming to have it up for you in the 1919 slot tomorrow night. Oh yes. Ooh. And I hope you enjoy it when I do get it up. Oh, God, I didn't mean that one. And just for the record, I don't have any difficulties with that. I have to slam it in the bathroom door in the morning so I don't knock the pictures off the wall coming down the stairs. Mind you, that's not going to last much longer, is it? That will fail the same as every other part of my bleeding body. That can't read that. No, it sounds nothing like Cockney cheeseburger. Don't be an arse. Watch out, Tracy. He wants to milk by hand. Oh dear. Utterly scared. I'm going to screenshot that. That could be part of a video title, couldn't it? Utterly scared. Well done, Trace. Would you join me, asks Andrew, in caressing the button of the liking doings? Well, that would be very kind of you. 10 of you have already done so. Some more would be lovely. Trisha's here, the lovely Trisha. Hi, Jason and everyone. Hope you're all keeping warm. My heating was set to 18, and I've just whacked it up to 20. And then when this finishes, I'll whack it back down to 18. It's cold. It's bloody cold, darlings. And honestly, I hate being cold. I've spent enough of my life being cold. I've lived in very cold countries. I've lived in cold properties here in the UK. And at my age, I just haven't got any time for it. And I know heating costs a fortune, but honestly, when it's this cold outside, I just want to be warm, and I would rather be warm than eat. So I'm not gonna go mad, but I'm gonna put the heating on, you know, a little bit higher for an hour and just accept that it's gonna bankrupt me. Ah, don't panic, says Trace. I'm going to watch last night after this one. And well done on changing chat before we started. Look at you being a pro. Oh, yes. I can't read that out, Barry. So you go from saying this is a precedent. Yeah, right. Oh, dear me, I can't read that either. James's latest video is all about his Rover estate. Has anyone seen it? Who we talking about here? Which James? Which James and a Rover estate? No, I haven't seen it. You're not talking about James Martin, are you? JM. He hasn't got a Rover estate. He's got a ZTT. Uh, Paul Yates is here. Hello, Boaty. Hello to you. Name Me -1 is here and stalking again. Stalk away, my dear chap or chapess, because I don't know to whom you are. Well, I don't. I think we've had this conversation before. Name me. Video title: Boaty wants a bit of the udder. Oh, that's quite good actually. I'll screenshot that one as well. I've been given the like button some serious GBH recently, says Simone, and that's jolly kind of her. It's killing me to put the heating on, says Barry Scrotter, but what are you going to do? I'm the same. If it needs to be on, it needs to be on. Absolutely. Same here, says Simone. I'm not getting cold. You're more famous than Boaty now, Trisha. Everybody's more famous than me. Oh, it is JM. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a Rover, is it? It's a ZTT. I'm sure they told me it was a ZTT. I've not seen it anyway. But that's what he was on his way to fetch when he had lunch with me and Mustardo. And I had the steak, and he paid. Which will probably go down in the old memory banks as one of my little triumphs. I can report that on yesterday's Do Lunch, was it yesterday? It was yesterday, wasn't it? On yesterday's Do Lunch, total failure. I paid. Yeah. Although it wasn't too bad. It was only £11.60 for three of us. Mustard took some of his own food and he only wanted a bag of chips. God, I almost said a name then, and of course it hasn't gone out yet, has it? Title nomination from Trace. I like a wet one, but not in my live streams. Screenshot that. Do your creatures great and small impression again. That wasn't an all creatures great and small impression. No, an all creatures great and small impression. That would be a little bit tricky. Now, if you did an impression from the television series or the film, it would be quite posh because Siegfried and Tristan were definitely posh and Jane sounded posh. If you were being authentic and actually reading like from the book, then it would be a Scottish accent because James Herriot, or to give him his real name, Alf White, was Scottish and he had a broad Glaswegian accent. So the TV and films are massively inaccurate. Now, if you've read the books, then he's very open about the fact that he is Scottish and he has a very, very Scottish accent, which kind of stands out like a sore thumb well, of course, in the books and the TV series, they lived in Darrowby in Yorkshire, but in real life, Alf White lived and practiced in Thirsk in Yorkshire. And I mean, the books are very firmly based on truth. Siegfried Farnan, his real name was Donald, whatever it was, and Tristan Farnan in the book was Siegfried's brother. Well, Donald's brother was actually called Brian, but it's all largely based on truth. And if you go to Thirsk, you can do a tour of what was Skeldale House in the doings. Anyway, there we are. Where did I get to? Pingu says JM has a trophy blue ZTT. There we are. Good evening, podgering people, says Stephen S. Paul from across the heading pond. Jimmy Quinn says James spent £2,500 on a £500 MG. It's a Tourer, not an estate. Correct, Simone. Must be worth 5k plus now, says Pingu. God. And Simone bought a choke conversion kit for her Cortina today. All creatures impression from Cheeseburger. Oi, get off that fetting tractor. I don't like auto choke. I'm not that kinky, says Simone. I don't get that. Well, I mean, I suppose nobody gets a kink if it's not their kink. But the idea of choking or being choked doesn't appeal to me in the least. Whereas a bit of spanking, I'm all up for that. As long as I'm the spanker rather than the spankee. But choking, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's not just any live stream, says Pingu. It's a farmer boat. Donald Sinclair. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Bad Books. Correct. Donald and Brian Sinclair. Barry says Doctor Who was Tristan. Oh, right, yeah. Peter Davison did play Doctor Who, didn't he? But he'll always be Tristan in my book. Oh dear. There's a video somewhere on my channel of a very funny skit on All Creatures Great and Small, by the one and only Robbie Coltrane. My son lives in Thirsk, says Jimmy Quinn. Oh, there you are, small world. Barry, says Cheeseburger. I saw him in a restaurant in Mallorca in 1987. He was a pretentious prat. Who are we talking about? Oh, I guess we're talking about Peter Davison. Oh, right, there we are. The company I work for is based in Thirsk, says Bad Books. And Ron McCulloch, and it's a great pleasure to have you with us, Ron, says hydrophilic gearbox. And, well, and so say all of us. No, Barry. Was he married to the American blonde then? Yeah, he was married to, what was her name? She played Trillian in the first Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy television series. And I can't remember her name. Okay, right. Quiz. Bonus point. First person to answer. Fastest finger first. Trillian in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What was her real name? See who gets there first. Oh, Sandra Dickinson. That sounds about right. She did indeed have a high-pitched voice, really quite annoying. I didn't like her playing Trillian. I thought she sounded too airheaded for the character. No offence. And hopefully there's none taken. But yeah, he was married to her, wasn't he? Oh, and a nice rack, says Cheeseburger. You've never seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Simone? Well, I hope you've read it, at least. Or actually, if you want the best possible introduction to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, now, I'm obsessed by hitchhikers. I will freely admit to it, and I have a geeky level of knowledge of hitchhikers. I have got every word that Douglas Adams ever wrote. I've got not only the stuff that was released in the UK, I actually went to America in order to buy the Hitchhiker stuff that was published over there that was never published in the UK. There's a lot more hitchhikers out there than you probably realise. But if you want an easy intro, I would recommend nothing more than buying the BBC cassette or CD, I suppose now, assuming it's still available, of the abridged version of the original radio series. And it is it's voiced by Stephen Moore. Stephen Moore, I'm sure that's the name, who played Adrian Mole's father when Adrian Mole went from the book to the television series. And now I'm trying to think who played Adrian Mole, and it was somebody, Gian San Marco. God, I'm dragging that out of somewhere. Oh, and who played his mum? Who played Pauline? I can't remember, but Stephen Moore definitely played his father. I remember that. I've got no idea who played Pandora. I can't remember that. As I've said before, I'm exactly the same age as the fictional character, Adrian Mole. As in, for those who don't know, The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 and 3/4. But again, what you might not know is that Adrian Mole went on and on and on. And I read it with some interest because I was always the same age as him. And I stopped reading it when he got bloody cancer because I thought, well, fucking hell. I don't want that. I don't want that from my same age person. I mean, he went through a divorce and all of that. And I thought, well, that's fair enough. I've done that myself. But no, not the cancer. But then I don't know if he survived the cancer or anything else because Sue Townsend didn't survive. And sadly, she's spending some time being dead, possibly for tax reasons. Oh, and their daughter is married to David Tennant. Oh, I didn't know that. I read the book many years ago, says Paddy Scrotter, not seen the film. Well, if we're talking about hitchhikers, don't bother seeing the film. Book or radio with hitchhikers. Avoid TV or film. Absolute crap. If you're talking about All Creatures, the original TV series is quite lovely. Inaccurate in parts, but quite lovely. Avoid the films and avoid the later TV series that I think was on Channel 5 or 6 or 7 or something. But I mean, when it comes to All Creatures Great and Small, then the books are the best way to experience it. Douglas Adams was a writer on Doctor Who. There you are. I have the DVD and the book, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, says Andrew. Well, I don't know about the DVD, but you need all the books. I mean, you at least need the first 4. You at least need the first 4. It went a bit weird after the first 4, I'll grant you. Trace says, I think my dad was the sound engineer on the original radio series. I'd have to look it up. That would be amazing. Simone says it was Gian San Marco who played Adrian Mole. Thank you, I was close. Oh, sorry, San Marco. And Simone says, I loved the Adrian Mole books. So did I. I could still quote from them now. They they were some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that I've read, not that I've seen on telly, because I don't count that. But the stuff that I've read, some of it goes in one ear and straight down to my soul, and it never ever leaves. There are huge chunks of prose that are just there, ready to be regurgitated at any one time. You know, the sort of stuff that you read once and you can never forget. Like the Choir Boys, Joseph Wambaugh. God Almighty, how could you ever forget that if you read it properly? The nearest I got to appreciating Hitchhikers, says Cheeseburger, was a love of level 42. Mark King is the second greatest bass player in the world, presumably after Cassie Valentine, Cheeseburger. Yeah, I would agree with that. Bad Book says James Hediot stroke Alf White drove an Audi Quattro. The only thing he splashed out on. Now, I didn't know that. I know a lot of stuff about Alfred White and his daughter Rosie and his son Jimmy, but I didn't know that. Where did you get that bit of information from? That can't be too readily available, or I'd have known it. I read Stark by Ben Elton, says Barry. That was good. My dad did loads of Radio 4 stuff, says Trace. Well, he would. He was employed by them. The most famous was Lord of the Rings. Took years. Now, somewhere... Oh, I didn't even give you a countdown for that one. I mean, I haven't got it anywhere. Oh, do you know what? I got really upset today. I don't often get really upset. I got really upset today. Some of you might have seen I put a video up, and it's a video of a little film about dear old Bristol Brian, and I was around when that was filmed, as was Dad, blah blah blah. And I've been searching for that film for literally for years and years and years and years. I used to have it on VHS from when it was on the telly. I taped it off the telly. That has long gone with all of my other VHS cassettes. And so I've been half-heartedly now and then searching online ever since. And I found it this morning, literally this morning. So I dropped everything to get it up onto the channel. I was so excited. But I wanted a load of stuff to go with it. So I thought, well, I'll dig out my parents' wedding photos, because of course Brian was their best man. I'll dig out the wedding photos. I'll dig out all of the photos of me with Brian when I was a baby, and then when I was a kid, and then when I was a teenager driving a Rolls Royce and various Bristols and whatnot. And the pictures with Jean, his wife, and with Fee and Jason, his kids, all of that stuff. And I suddenly realized, I went up to the walk-in cupboard in the guest suite to get the photo albums out, and they're not there. And I couldn't think where they were. And it took me, I had to go back through my mind. So I thought, well, I know I rescued them from the cottage. When I sold the cottage, I know I took all of the photo albums. I know I did. So how can I not have them? And I suddenly realized, and I didn't realize this until now, I had a couple of garages, and they were council garages. Even though I wasn't a council tenant, you can rent council garages. And when I was married, we had a couple for various cars. You know, they're pennies. And then when I got divorced, a load of stuff went into one of the garages, Mrs. Boaty's stuff and my stuff. And my stuff were filing cabinets from Boaty's Hub, 4 sets of filing cabinets. And I can't remember how it happened. There was an argument over who was paying for the garage and who had the stuff in it. And the bottom line is neither of us paid for this particular garage, and it got repoed, which didn't bother me because it only had my crap in it, except I now realise it had all of the photograph albums in one of the filing cabinets. So all of my childhood, all of my parents' photos, gone. And I didn't realise it until today. I thought they were in the walk-in cupboard. I've got one album of my grandparents, but all of the me stuff and all of my parents' stuff, all gone. All of those big red photo albums. So that really upset me. But I was delighted to find that film. Some of you might have watched it. Some of you might watch it going on, but yeah, that was. And again, sometimes you don't realise things until long afterwards. And I didn't realise just how much of an influence Brian had on me when I was a kid. I mean, we were there on, I was around his place on a daily bloody basis. Grew up with his kids. And he was such a fascinating man. And as a kid, and of course my dad was into cars, of course he was. So it was dad who also got me into cars. But as a kid into cars, imagine being around a place where there are hundreds of the bloody things, really exciting ones too. But yeah, there we are. There we are. But at least that bit of film is up there now. So that's nice. That's nice. And it brought back some nice memories. So that was nice too. Nice to see Doc Richard again as well. He was known as Doc Richard in the little coterie. There was a very close knit circle of friends, and it was it was Brian and his wife, Bristol Brian and his wife Jean, Brian Dale and his wife Nolene, my mum and dad, and Doc Richard and his wife, and yeah, oh God, it's quite lovely, really. There we are. Ooh. I am upset about those photo albums. Genuinely hadn't occurred to me. I honestly thought I had them. And along with all of those, there were a load of family photos in the pre-digital camera age of me and Mags and the kids, and oh, and there's a load of me and Sasha as well, and me and the original Chinese madam, the first version, Lei Yun, and some of the second one as well, Ling Li, I think. Anyway, they're gone now, so there we are. Ah, where did I get to? Oh God, yeah, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. I bought my father the box set of the cassette version of Lord of the Rings, so he could play it on his Bang& Olufsen gramophone. Oh God, here we go. Brace yourselves. General Cheeseburger says, we could do a new All Creatures set on an unt farm, featuring Cheesy, the master of shithousery, Boaty, the farmer coming out the back of a sheep, and Carlos, the alcoholic farmhand. Oh dear. My book passion as a kid was Asterix the Gaul. Yeah, I read that too, Simone. And Andrew, I was spotted about, he says, I loved Asterix. I had some of his books. Simone, don't go to Parc Asterix on the outskirts of Paris. I took the wife and kids to Parc Asterix, a theme park on the outside of Paris. There was one particular roller coaster I wanted to go on, a Woody called Tonnerre de Zeus. Oh, and it was amazing. But This will traumatise you. I've told you this before, and I promise you it's true. So we're bumbling about Park Asterix, right? Me, the wife, the kids. 3 of the kids. The eldest didn't come on that one. And there's a merry-go-round, right? UK merry-go-round, prancing horses, carriages, all of that. This is an Asterix-themed merry-go-round. I swear this is true. I swear on everything that I hold holy, this is true. On this merry-go-round, there was one of the things was one of those round things with seats all round, so like 5 or 6 kids could sit in it, right? On a UK merry-go-round, that would be a carriage pulled by some horses. Not on this one, not in France. I'm sorry for what I'm about to say. The seating area was the inside of Obelisk's arse. And the entrance to the seating area was Obelisk in his famous blue and white striped trousers, bending over. I'm not making this up. I swear to you, I'm not making this up. We didn't have smartphones back then, or I would have put it on Facebook that didn't exist. Obelisk is bending over. His trousers are gaping open. And he's holding open his arse cheeks. I kid you not. And the little kiddywinks, they walk in through Obelisk's rectum to seat themselves inside his colon. Fuck, how fucked up are the French? Right, have any of you been to Park Asterix? If you have, tell them I'm telling the truth, because you will have seen that. You can't not see that. It might not be there now, but it was bloody well there when we went. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. What sort of country thinks that it's okay to have a children's fairground ride where you walk in through a fat man's gaping arsehole? I mean, oh dear. Jimmy Quinn says the new series of All Creatures Great and Small on Channel 5 is a very good series, and James Herriot is Scottish in it. Oh, well, there we are. 5 people you meet in heaven was spoilt by Spielberg as a film. I preferred the book in my own imagination. Well, Barry Scrotter, I don't know that particular thing that you're talking about, but when it comes to preferring the book in your own imagination, that is true of everything in the world for me. I can't think of a single thing where the TV or film was better than the book, or even as good as. Give you loads of examples, right? The Waltons. Lovely family Sunday morning viewing, until you read the book that the Waltons was based on, which is called Spencer's Mountain by Earl Hamner Jr. And then you realise that the TV series is a load of wank. And I can give you a million more examples like that. The book is always better. 100%. Can any of you give me an example of something where the TV or movie is better than the original book? I bet you can't. Pingu Concord says, I experienced an actual real life boatyism today. Ooh. After driving round in HJ, I jumped into my Streetwise and the pedals felt like they had moved. They felt like they had been moved, just like in Boaty's world. Yeah, see, it's not just me. Alf White is seen driving it on a YouTube video, I think, a red Quattro, like on Ashes to Ashes. New vets are on the other side of the A19 on the way to my work. Oh, there we are. I have a council garage, says Barry Scrotter. 60 quid a month now. Bloody hell, is it really? Keeps my car off the street. Dear me, 60 quid a month. That's not cheap anymore. Boaty, check the comments on the Bristols. I found the vid and was wondering if it was the same place. Yeah, I think it is Barry Scratter, and I think I couldn't watch the video because I didn't like the people in it. But I assume that the lady in it is Fee, his daughter. I haven't seen Fee for many years, but she did look familiar. Brian, to explain. Brian had an enormous place. It was like a stately home with all of the grounds around it. And and I should add, right, Doc Richard isn't as innocent as he looks, by the way, either. I've got so many stories about Bristol Brian and about the other guys, Dale, my old man. So many stories, and I could never tell them in a million years anywhere where they could be recorded. Mustard knows them, or he certainly knows some of them. I could probably more get away with one of the stories now that Brian has passed away. And if Mustard ever watches this, he will know the exact story that I'm talking about. But if I meet with any of you guys and I'm convinced you're not recording, I will tell you the stories. I mean, you watch those American documentary things, or you couldn't make up anything like not just the stories that I've heard, the things I was there for. My God, the things I was there for. But yeah, Brian lived in this kind of, it was like a stately home. And unfortunately, it burned down. And he'd forgotten to insure it. He forgot to insure most things. So it never got rebuilt. And they lived in what used to be the servants' quarters, which is actually a really, really nice house. But he's got all of this land, and he put aircraft hangars up there, and he had all of the outbuildings and everything. I mean, it was an amazing place. And he had some very, very, very important cars there. Brian was, I would love to, I can't do it in a live stream. I can't, for legal reasons. Brian was an eccentric beyond words, a lovely, lovely, lovely man. I loved him dearly. As I said in the blurb to the film, I never bought a car off him. I drove his cars all the time. I did sell a car to him, and there's a story about that, and I can't tell you. I sold him a £30,000 Series 4 411. God, oh, there is a story there. Oh God, there is a story there. Brian was amazing, and his wife Jean was just lovely. I don't know if she's still with us or not. And another singer, by the way, Jean was, I think Jean was lead something or other in either the National Choir or the BBC Choir, something like that. And his kids, Jason and Fee, they were lovely as well. They were just amazing people. They were just so incredibly eccentric that they didn't think any of the normal rules or laws or niceties of society applied to them. And I loved that. And I've always had that element about me as well. It's kind of an Italian thing as well, that, the idea that a civilized society should have all of the rules needed to maintain it as a civilized society, but none of them should apply to me. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. So there you go. That's an insight into my childhood there, I guess. And not just childhood, teenage and adult, because the tie-in with Brian and everything, it went on and on. Again, as I said in the blurb, The first time I got drunk was at Brian's Christmas party. The first car I ever drove was a Rolls Royce at his place, and on it went. Where did I get to? Oh yeah, that one. Great Brian May film, says Mark. Thank you. Has anyone bought more than one of Mustard and Boaty's cars? Asked Pingu. Yes. Yeah, more than one people. More than one actually. So if you stroke your dad had the cassette version, say Trace, you heard my dad's work. I know he's definitely credited on that. We did, and we listened to it endlessly. I know of the park asterisk, say Simone, but I have no passport. Video title, Boaty's dad played Tracy's cassette. Jaws, the film is way better, says Barry. All right, I've not read that book, so. Better TV, Tales of the Unexpected in the 1970s, when a MILF Joan Collins took her kit off. Oh, God. You can tell Bristol Brian is a character straight away. Yeah. You know, one of the things that made me laugh about that film, I mean, he said that he was a boxer, and it's perfectly true. He was. Brian, it didn't come out in the film. Brian was a naval officer, and that was where he boxed. And he said that he had 12 fights. That's true. And he said that all 12 fights finished in the first round. That's true. And he just sort of went, poof, implying that he won all of those 12 fights. And he didn't. He did have 12 fights. They did all end in the first round, but he didn't win them all. God. But there you go. I guess that's why, maybe that's why he and my dad were lifelong best friends, things in common. Because my dad was a boxer. My dad, I don't think I've ever told you this. My dad had a beautiful voice until his voice broke, and then it went. But my dad was a noted voice soprano, and my dad sang lead voice soprano at the Albert Hall on a performance. He had a beautiful voice. I had a lovely voice soprano voice, but wasn't as good as my dad's. I heard recordings of it. He had an incredibly sweet voice, and of course they had the car thing in common. Brian was a bloody liability in a lot of ways. My old man, you know, I love a Rover P5B. And my old man had a lovely Rover P5B coupe, 1969 on a G plate. And we lost our garage, so we parked it at Bristol Brian's. Bit like me parking something at Mustard's yard, you know. And we went back however long, or 5 days later, right, whatever, to have a drive of it, and it wasn't there. And where's my Rover? Oh, was that yours, old chap? Sold it. Very happy, new owner. Oh, right. How much did you sell it for? Where's well, I've spent the money. That's all gone. Anyway, never mind. Would you like coffee? God. And that was where our P5B went. Bloody Bristol Brian sold it. And we never saw a penny. Oh dear. That's it, Cheesy. And I told you about a Johnny Smith barn find Bristol, and he showed a letter from Brian May to the original owner. Simone says, Boaty, talking of theme parks, how are you with roller coasters? They scare the crap out of me. I absolutely adore roller coasters. I was for a long time a member of the Rollercoaster Club of Great Britain, and I've purposely travelled certainly the whole of the UK, a lot of Europe and America specifically, in search of particular roller coasters. I adore them, or at least I did. I've not been on one for a while, but I mean, I adore roller coasters. They're one of my biggest passions. Um, but I'm old school. I love a wooden roller coaster. My favourite overall is Tonnerre de Zeus at Park Asterix. My favourite in the UK is Megaphobia at Oakwood Park. Um, I love a giant coaster like the big one at Blackpool, or there are various versions of those around Europe and around America. I'm not such a fan of the whizzy, roundy, whirly ones. Now, when they started coming out, the inverted coasters, as they're called, I liked them. I loved, what was it called at Alton Towers? Their first inverted coaster. Can't remember what it was called, but I loved that. Thought that was great. Um, I like Oblivion at Alton Towers. I like Rita, Queen of Speed. I'm a bit out of touch. It's been a good few years since I've been to a theme park. I like Shockwave at Drayton Manor, which is a roller coaster where you stand up. That was a very different experience. Obviously, I love all of the coasters at Blackpool. You have to. If you're a coaster enthusiast, that is like, it's like Mecca. You make a pilgrimage to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So obviously, the Grand National is the daddy of them all. Um, I've done a video about the Cobra at West Midlands Safari Park, where my mate Chris and I spent the day when we were both at school. Chris is the guy living in Australia now, Chris Mills. Came to see me back end of last year. He and I set the record for the highest number of consecutive goes on the Cobra. We rode it 100 times consecutively. And the Cobra is a boomerang coaster which was replicated, built by the company Ved Downs, and they replicated it at the American Adventure. That one was called the Missile. I could go on and on about roller coasters. I adore them. I absolutely love them. Except that I've not been on one forever and ever and ever. And the two that I would like to go on again before I die would be the Grand National and Megaphobia at Oakwood Park. So if any of you guys or gals want to come to Oakwood Park with me, or Blackpool Pleasure Beach, on a roller coaster riding experience, let's do it. And let's do it this year. Oh, we got some titles. Right. At 55, says Cheeseburger, I've given up on roller coasters now. The older I get, the more I hate them. Simone was on a roller coaster once, never again. Title, says Trace. Brian may. Boaty won't, but Freddie will. Boaty asking you, did you partake in any cycling adventures whilst you were living in the US? Or were you too busy pottering the stuff? No, never rode a bike in the States. I didn't go out to the States until, well, literally until my 30th birthday. And I was having nothing to do with the bike then. I never even came close to going out to the States because there was nothing happening. There was nothing to go out to the States for. And I'm out of touch now, but I still don't think there is. I mean, I think the Tour de Dupont was going on when I was racing, but you wouldn't go there. There's no way, no European teams went out to America. It was bloody pointless. I mean, the only guy that went out to America was Eno when Cyril Guimard and Renault Elf wanted to sign Greg LeMond. But so no, I didn't, Pingu. What was the vertical drop coaster, asked Simone? That was Oblivion at Alton Towers, wasn't it? If you like roller coasters, Boaty, says Rob, then you need to come for a drive in my car. 0 to 60 is nearly as quick as Rita at Alton Towers. Well, you promised me a drive in that before, didn't you? But since that, of course, I've driven that bloody Jaguar, and that was pretty insane. Oh, Jimmy Quinn says, Great Yarmouth has got a wooden roller coaster, Boaty. Now then, I might be wrong, but I've never been to Great Yarmouth. It's on my list. But isn't it Great Yarmouth that has got, or has it gone now? Maybe it had. And I've not told, no. The roller coaster I want to ride again more than anything else is the Montana Suisse at Parc des Attractions at Montego de San Sebastian. And when I was researching that, I'm sure I read the Great Yarmouth had one of the last switchback railway roller coasters that used a brakeman, but it's probably not the same one. The best wooden coaster I've been on is Gwazi at Bosch Gardens in Tampa, says Cheeseburger. A new standing coaster at SeaWorld Orlando now. Trace says, Boaty, I want to see this in your future bids. You on a roller coaster with the camera pointing at your face. That's it. I will need a coffin after those. I will die happy. I'd be really cool, Trace. We had a thing because all of my family, Maggie and the kids, we all love roller coasters. And we had a thing where we had to look cool. And again, fuck, I've got photos that I could show you. They might be on Facebook. They might be on Facebook, actually. Are they? They might be. If not, then they went in the garage too. But we had a thing that, you know, they take the ride photos on roller coasters. We had a thing that you had to look cool. None of this just going, or none of this, No, we had to be doing something. We had to look cool. And we did a different thing for every ride photo. And I've got a load of photos. So sometimes I've got a photo where we're in the 3 separate seats. I'm with James, the boy, and we're doing the, I can't do it now, I'm not flexible enough, but we're doing the Japanese pilot impersonation. Maggie is reading a book while we're on the biggest drop on the most frightening roller coaster. Siobhan and Katrina are choking each other, pretending to have a fight. And we used to do, every time we rode a roller coaster, for the ride photo, we had to do something cool. And we were the cool ones on coasters. So you can put a camera on my face all you want. I'm going to be cool because that's what I do on a roller coaster. You're not going to see me shitting myself or anything like that. I threw up in the queue for the roller coaster on Tower, says Mark. So I've never been on one. Oh dear. Nemesis. That's right, Nemesis. Thank you, buddy. I haven't been on a roller coaster since 1986, says Ivor Spotty Buddy. We can arrange it in the spring or summer for sure, says Rob. Jolly good. Great Yarmouth has a Premier Inn right beside the pleasure beach and almost on the beach. Good place. Great breakfast. Stayed there in December, says Trace. Oh, the roller coaster has got a brakeman, Jimmy Quinn. In that case, this year I'm going to Great Yarmouth. Remind me. The last roller coaster I went on was at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and the PlayStation ride, I think it was. Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay, if you're really cool on coasters, let's have vids on you on them. I would really love this. How am I going to film it? What do I do? Just hold my camera? I suppose it's good to. I'm totally up for that. I will ride. I'm bang up for that. I'm bang up. Put me on a roller coaster. Film me. Totally up for it. My mate, oh, well, Trace will tell you this. Our mutual friend Steve, stroke Astro, stroke Woody, the world's fastest talking man, he was paid a large amount of money to film a television advert in Korea, was it, Trace? Where he and the world's fastest rapper were on a roller coaster rapping and talking. And I think Steve did about 3 takes and then he just blew chunks all over the camera. Oh dear. Mike says 2 litre Bristol 403 on the Late Break Show. Titled Unicorn Rare Bristol Classic Barn Find. Boaty says, Pingu, tell us about your most interesting plane journey. Did you have a go on any bush routes whilst you were living in Africa? No, I didn't do anything like that in Africa. I wasn't really living in Africa. I was living in North Africa. So there was absolutely nothing like that at all. I haven't really got any interesting plane rides. I mean, I've had some near misses, but nothing worth telling, really, to be honest. I mean, the most impressive plane journeys were when I was commuting to Chicago on the red eye to O'Hare on Virgin Atlantic. I used to drink the recommended annual intake in about 6 hours. Oh, well, no, of course, I'm telling a lie, aren't I? I'm forgetting. Okay. Oh, God, and we're past time to go. My most interesting plane journey. My most interesting plane journeys were where Lisa and I were living in and commuting between Cyprus and Exeter. Her best friend, Andy Anthony, had a training command with Cypriot. This was in the pre-9/11 days when pilots could just sit their friends on the jump seats in the cockpit. So we never used to pay for a ticket. We used to fly in the cockpit on the jump seats all the time, flying from Larnaca to Exeter and vice versa. And they were by far the most interesting plane journeys, especially the one when I hand flew a fully packed Boeing 737 over the Mediterranean more than once. Used to be a lot of fun. And honestly, being in the cockpit for takeoff and landing was just an amazing experience. Absolutely an amazing experience. Other than that, we used to just have a lot of fun. They were Eurocipria was a bloody chartered airline. There were chartered flights, so we were invariably carrying, awful holiday makers on what's it, chartered holiday company. What you got at package tours? God, who would do that? Who would do that? And again, in the pre-9/11 days, then the cockpit used to be open. Some pilots would invite people in to come and have a look at the cockpit. They were simpler times. And Andy would have fun introducing me as different things. His favourite one was to introduce me as the head of complaints or something like that, just to see what people would complain about, the foreign food being served at the hotel or the beach was too hot. But they were amazing. I loved those. I absolutely loved those. And the double useful thing about that, of course, was being crew. You don't go through the normal customs channel, so you could smuggle anything you wanted in. I used to bring so many cigarettes. It was amazing. Cheeseburger hasn't been on a UK roller coaster since 1999. Well, we need to put that right, Cheeseburger. Mustard and Boaty do coasters. Yeah, now that's where the fun would be. That's where the fun would be. Cool Captain Mustard, right? I'll let you into a secret. He hates fun fairs. He hates rides. He hates theme parks. His family never go to them because he hates them, right? His poor kids. So if you want to laugh, drag Mustard on a roller coaster and let's all film him, and that will be funny. And we'll bring his wife and kids as well and give them a decent day out instead of their day out being a ride somewhere in a Rover 25. Oh, what a treat this is, kids. We're going out in Nigel. Can't we go to Blackpool and ride on the roller coaster? No. Oh dear. Okay. Oh, you can get things that strap your phone to you so it doesn't fly off into the ether. Okay. Most modern coaster, says Cheeseburger, don't let you take anything on them, let alone a phone or camera. Ah. I can't read that out. Oh, yeah, there's another little claim to fame. This will show you how brave I am. Right. Alton Towers, way back when, in the very early days. Now, they had a coaster called the Black Hole. Some of you might remember that. And it was basically a roller coaster that was inside. And I can tell you a bit of inside knowledge. The roller coaster that was a black hole on Alton Towers was prior to that. It was the Jumbo Jet at Drayton Manor Park. And Drayton Manor Park sold it. Alton Towers bought it, put it inside the building, and it became the black hole. Now, very sadly, somebody died on that. And that was when I was still at school. So a long time ago. I was on the very first ride when it reopened after somebody died on it. And I couldn't wait to get on it. God. And it is time to say goodnight, darlings. It is time to. Oh, hang on, who's done that? Oh, thank you, Jimmy. Oh, that's really kind. Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy. Jimmy has said that he's fed up with YouTube taking 50 or more, 60 in some cases, percent of any little gifts that are made. So rather than sending a super chat, he's just thrown £3 into my PayPal account, which is lovely and really appreciated, because not just because it means that I get all of it, so rather than YouTube taking 60%, but I get it immediately rather than on the 23rd of the following month. So that's great. I can buy gas with it. So thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate that. Oh, and that's what I did with the tenner you sent me for my birthday as well. That brought me some warmth and I was incredibly grateful. So thank you very much. And it is time to go. It is time to go. Yeah, indeed. Bar humbug. Jimmy is a top bloke. He really is. All right, darlings. That is about that for tonight. Yeah, nothing much else to tell you. There's oh, nice noodles video, says Ignace Velatis. Thank you very much. And nice to have you with us. A new name. Welcome to the live stream, which I'm just about to end. So I think I've told you everything. There's right. Monday's Mustard and Boaty do lunch will probably go out tomorrow night, 1919. I hope you enjoy it. It's a bit of a long one. Watch it in. I don't think I'm going to break it into more than one part, but feel free to watch it in 2 or 3 parts because it's like an hour and a half long. So do it in 3 half-hour sessions. But honestly, I think you will. I think you might enjoy it. It's very different to the James one. It's a lot more personal, and it's filmed in the caravan with no heating, so that adds an element of. But I really enjoyed it. We've got another do lunch booked in for Sunday, so you'll be enduring or enjoying that next week. Tomorrow's daily diary is a bit short and naff, but you have got Ram telling you what a day was like for him as a child in very, very rural Nepal in the foothills of the Himalayas, and not much else, to be honest, because I didn't get round to filming anything today, so I had to cobble something together tonight. Oh, I brought wet leg home tonight, by the way. You'll see that in the daily diary. Tomorrow, I'm planning to do yet another noodle video. Would you believe it? And I did warn you about these noodle videos. You can't say you weren't warned. Right? It's another Nissan one, but it's the Damai Ramen spicy noodles. So these are the same manufacturer as the ones that I said were no good in the last video. They are 100 grams, so they fall in between weight, in between the two I've already done. And yeah, I'm going to be trying these tomorrow. So that will be tomorrow's daily diary. Avoid it if you will. As you were doing Sunday, will you miss Monday at the yard? Asked Mark. Good question. No, I think I'm still going to be there on Monday as well, because I've got to take Dick a Dum Dum for MOT. I mean, I did have a thought that because I've got other Mondays booked in, I did think about taking off to a hotel, having a night in Snowdonia and taking the Land Rover. But that will all depend on money and stuff. We'll see. We'll see. But I'll probably still be at the yard. I think the weather's going to be better, so we might be able to actually get some stuff done. Put some cars up for sale, do some for sale videos, that sort of thing. But we'll see how that goes. I just keep thinking about not wasting this year. And I just want to do some more overnights and some more road trips in the cars and whatnot. Someone of your caliber, says Name Me -1, should be making your own homemade noodles. I agree. And I have done in the past, but it was a year ago or more. And as Ignace points out, I did say I would try homemade noodles. And yeah, so the idea is that when I've done a few more noodle reviews of the ones that you can buy, as I did mention in a video, I will then have a go at doing it myself with just buying some ramen noodles, adding my own spice mix, my own spicing, blah, 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 and seeing how much cheaper we can make it and whether we can improve on these. And to be honest, I mean, I did already do it in a video, but it was a video over a year ago, I think, where I used some 28p Sainsbury's noodles, threw away all the flavouring and used all of my own. And I just cooked them with, oh God, I think I used fresh green chili. I used Chu Chow chili and Chu Chow chili oil, blah, blah, blah. But we'll do that again, and we'll do it in the context of these and see what we can do ourselves. So good point, Name Me -1. I will get onto that. Thank you, Jimmy. And there we are. That is it for tonight, darling. So please keep yourselves warm, have a safe and peaceful night. And I would love nothing more than to see you all at the same time, same place tomorrow, so that we can do it all over again. 11 o'clock tomorrow night, Wednesday night live. I will see you then. All right, darlings. Much love from me. Oh, my new thing. Let's get this right. Pichu, bosh.